Welcome back to an abbreviated version of the Jimmy Mathis Show. Right now it's time for the Stone Zone. You can hear Roger Stone, former Donald Trump top advisor, every Saturday here on the Jimmy Mathis Show. Good morning, Roger. How you doing, sir?
Jimmy, it's a great day in America.
It is a great day in America. I'll tell you what, it has been a fast year as we approach the final furlong of 2017 here.
No question about it. Our politics is moving at warp speed, among other things.
It sure is. You've been all over the news this past week. Actor Tom Arnold coming out claiming that you are the reason for the fall of Al Franken.
Yeah, he specifically says that I teamed up with John Phillips of KABC in Los Angeles to coach Miss Tweeden regarding Leanne Tweeden about her claims of sexual harassment against Al Franken. I mean, Jimmy, I've never met, communicated, spoken, don't know Miss Tweeden. John Phillips is not my source, even though I've been on his great radio show a number of times. My source is high up in the New York Fox or news organization. My only role here is in reporting this about 6 hours before the mainstream media for InfoWars, tomorrow's news today. I have no other role in this. This is a left-wing conspiracy theory by a washed-up actor who I think is trying to gin up business for his star turn at the Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard in L.A.
Roger, the Democrats, for the most part in the past, they don't eat their own. Franken, I think, could have written this out if he wanted to. Just sort of a glimpse into why he decided to step down kind of prematurely, because it looked like he was going to ride this out for a while.
Well, let's be clear, though. 6 more women came forward regarding Al Franken, 6 additional women, every one of them credible. So this did not all hang on the claims of Leanne Tweeden, although I find her entirely credible based on what I've read. And God knows how many more women were going to come out of the woodwork. I think perhaps that's why he threw in the towel.
At some point, is it diminishing returns? Okay, great. The guy's sleaze, we all know that. That's kind of baked into the cake. Time solves a lot of problems, especially when you're talking politics. Was there something behind the scenes that drove him to his resignation? I understand more women came forward, but just looking at this as an outsider, it didn't seem to make the story any worse necessarily, and he didn't have an election coming up.
Again, I'm merely your humble reporter, so I have no particular insights. I do know Franken was a particularly unpleasant and nasty guy with few friends.
Right.
Contrast that with, say, Harold Ford Jr., who was dismissed from a Wall Street firm this week for alleged sexual harassment. I like Harold Ford. He's a very nice guy. He's a very decent guy based on my experience with him. I've never seen this side of him if the allegations against him are true, which they may not be.
And, Roger, also from the New York Daily News, you were on the record saying that the lawyers for Donald Trump giving him bad advice. What exactly were you referencing on that?
Well, according to the New York Times and sources of my own, people I actually know, the president told a number of people over the Thanksgiving break that his lawyers assure him that he's going to have a letter clearing him of all involvement in Russian collusion from Special Counsel Mueller shortly. I don't think that's the case. The strategy of turning over hundreds of thousands of documents and waiving all executive privilege is suicidal, and that's what his lawyers have done. I really think they misunderstand the deep enmity and the determination of this partisan witch hunt in which they intend to remove Donald Trump one way or another. And Mueller is entirely capable of cooking up some kind of procedural offense against the president, obstruction, perjury, some other nonsense that has nothing whatsoever to do with Russia. I think his lawyers are being naive. I also think they're outgunned. You have 2 lawyers. They're not affiliated with law firms. They don't even have secretaries, up against an army of left-wing, government-paid thugs, many of whom seem to be being exposed over the last 2 weeks from the Mueller team.
Yeah.
So the president better get real, because this is a real, very real threat, and I don't think he's taking it seriously enough.
Well, I don't think he is either. And again, I mean, it's the politics of it, but there were some procedural moves this past week when it comes to impeachment, and that's with his own party controlling both chambers of Congress.
That's what they call a marker.
Yeah.
You go back and look at it, John Conyers sponsored articles of impeachment against Richard Nixon far, far earlier than there was any evidence that would have merited impeachment. The purpose of that whole thing was to get a headline. Impeachment articles, introduced over Trump, about Trump.
And Roger, I'm up against the end of my show today, so I'll talk to you next week bright and early, all right?
Great to be with you,
Thank you.
Jimmy.
Roger
Many
Stone
thanks.
for the Stone Zone. Quick break. We'll be right back.